morning. Namaste to each of you. Thank you for joining me this morning to honor your mind and your body and your spirit. Let's just take a moment to become present. Find a nice, comfortable seated position on a cushion, a blanket, a towel, a block, anything that allows your back of your spine, back of your neck to sit nice and long and tall, opening up your chest, opening up your diaphragm, and opening up your heart. Let's gently close our eyes and soften our thoughts. Soften our eyes. Soften our shoulders. And soften our heart. Observe your breath as it is, soft and gentle, breathing life into you with each inhale and relaxation with each exhale. Feel the grace being present, returning to that awareness again and again. You may open your eyes now. For this morning's intention, you may think of a positive word or phrase to have with you on your mat, and perhaps carry with you throughout the day. This morning's intention I'd like to talk about is the Sacral Chakra. Chakra is Sanskrit for wheels. There are 7 major chakra or wheels of energy that run along your spine. The second, starting from the bottom, the second from the bottom is the Sacral Chakra. The Sacral Chakra has its own function in your physical and subtle body, like a room has its own function in your house. Think of this chakra as the bedroom of your house, where you experience emotions and creativity, thinking sweet dreams. When the Sacral Chakra is in balance, you feel inspired and joyful and emotionally open. When it's out of balance, from being either overactive or underactive or even blocked, you may experience physical or emotional disturbances, such as creative blocks, fear of change, excessive mood swings, or body stiffness, often in the lower back. And these elements, these situations might either been a chronic long-term situation or an acute situation that is very present and short term. So the yoga's toolkit of asanas, the poses, the pranayamas, the breaths, meditations, and even the science of Ayurveda can help to balance your chakras. So for the pranayama this morning, we're going to do the Ujjayi Breath. And we're going to focus, there's several names to it. Ujjayi is the one we often use, but it's also known as the ocean breath. So we're going to kind of focus on that sound, that ocean sound today. So the Ujjayi breath is an audible type of breathing, and it's what I call the soundtrack to our yoga practice. And it's that ocean sound, like if you hold up a big conch shell to your ear, you can hear the ocean supposedly in that. So that's the sound you're aiming for. And to do that, you would open your mouth and go on your hand. And then on the inhale, you'd be making that Darth Vader sound. So, and then with the Ujjayi breath, we're actually doing the same kind of sound. You can feel it in the back of your throat, but with our mouth closed. So, and then visualize the ocean waves, kind of inhaling. So we're going to take that sound and that visualization into our meditation this morning. So on the inhale, visualize the waves coming onto the shore. And then on the exhale, watching the waves go away from the shore, kind of that ebb and flow of the tides, creating that wave up onto the shore and that wave away from the shore. And if you'd like to focus on an affirmation instead, I know it's kind of multitasking, but you can choose one or the other. I am able to go with the ebbs and flows of my life is the affirmation. I am able to go with the ebbs and flows of my life. And I'll meet you on the mat. Alrighty, so we're ready to begin the asana part of our practice. So we're going to start in cobbler's pose. Bring the soles of our feet together, and you can either have your fingers wrapped around your toes or wrapped around your ankles. And the point out with the sacral chakra, the physical body parts that are involved in this second chakra from the base of your spine is the hips, the sacrum, which is that triangular bone in the back, connects your pelvic area and your spines. The abdomen, right below your belly button, reproductive organs, knees, and joints. So that's all involved in the sacral chakra. So for our first pose, we're going to do like one of the ultimate hip openers. And with this whole practice, we'll be doing a lot of work around our hips and our sacrum and abdomen. So I like to wrap my hands around my ankles, take my elbows and point them in the direction of my knees, and just with a nice straight back, just kind of lean forward as far as you're comfortable, and then maybe you could use your Ujjayi breath to kind of determine where that sweet spot is. You can have it flowing and then kind of gets a little shallow. You'll know that that's maybe a little bit beyond your sweet spot. And then we'll kind of just lean back with a nice straight back. And we'll do this a couple more times, pointing our elbows toward our knees, leaning forward with a nice straight back. And then coming back, nice straight back, nice straight spine. And then one last time, pointing the elbows to our knees, leaning forward, finding that sweet spot between effort and relaxation, and then coming back. And then we'll cross our legs and we'll do our sun breaths and chest openers. Just love starting off our practice with that nice deep breath. So we're going to inhale, lifting our arms up. And bringing the palms together overhead, exhaling, coming down. Inhale, open. And exhale, close. Inhale up. And exhale, floating the hands down. We'll do that a couple more times. So slowly inhale up. Using your Ujjayi breath, you can hear yourself, hear that ocean. And then exhale down. Inhale, open. Have a nice flow. Exhale, close. Inhale up. And exhale down. And one last time, inhale up. And then going right into the exhale, flowing it down. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Inhale up. And exhale down. And then we'll go into our seated twists. And again, if you'd like to create a nice gentle flow with this, so we're going to lift our arms up, flow them over to, I'm going to go to the left, bringing both hands down. Once they hit the ground, just kind of float them back up again, up, and then down, twisting to the other side. Once they fingertips hit the ground, float them back up again, twisting back to the left, floating the hands down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. And then inhale up. And once you get to the top, you can come back to center and float your hands down. Alrighty, we're gonna roll down on our back. You can choose your method. I'm gonna choose bending my knees, and you can have them straight or do the express, whatever works for you today. We're gonna end up with our knees to our chest and give them a nice hug and maybe rock back and forth, just kind of wake up our spine, wake up our sacrum, which is again that triangular bone at the base of your spine. And then we'll go into rowboats. So we're going to place our hands on our knees, extend our arms fully straight ahead, opening up our knees to each side, bringing the soles of our feet together, that cobbler's pose, and then bringing our knees toward our shoulders, and then closing the knees over our chest. And we'll do that quite a few times. So just kind of open up our hips, really feeling that area right below the belly button, that sacral area of the chakra. And then we'll just keep flowing for a few moments. And if you like, when your arms are extended, you could go in the reverse direction. So when your arms are extended, pull your knees back toward you and then open them up right where your shoulders are, and then extend them forward and then back. So just kind of the reverse direction. Kind of a little activity for your mind. Do things in reverse than what you normally do. Right, and then we'll do one last one. We'll all end up with our knees to our chest and give them a nice hug. And then we'll put both feet down on the mat and come into reclined pigeon. So we're going to take our right ankle and place it on our left leg just below the knee, sending our right knee toward the right side of the mat. And that's one version of reclined pigeon. We're going to do a few more hip openers today, so I encourage you maybe take this one a little further today by interlacing your hands behind your thighs, gently guiding that left thigh toward your chest, really feeling that spine connecting to the mat. Flex both toes up to the sky. Just kind of breathe into this, and I feel a little tense. Find your breath and send it over to that tension. See if you can loosen it up a little bit. Now we'll set our left foot on the mat again and slide it down toward the bottom of the mat, keeping our right foot on our leg. Then turning our right knee toward the left side of the mat, we'll do a nice reclined spinal twist. Okay, and then we'll bring both knees back to the chest again, give them a nice hug, set our feet on the mat. We'll do reclined pigeon on the other side. So bringing your left ankle to your right leg, just below the knee, directing your left knee toward the left side of the mat. And then interlacing your fingers behind your right thigh, flexing your toes up to the sky, and gently drawing that right leg toward your chest. Breathing in and breathing, exhaling out to that little bit of tension. Now there's a difference between tension and pain, so I hope you can distinguish between the two. And then bring the right foot back down to the mat. We'll slide that right foot all the way down to the bottom of the mat and pivot our left knee rather, over to the right side for a spinal twist. Okay, and then we'll bring both knees back to the chest, give them a nice hug. And at this point, we're going to go up to our hands and knees, so you can roll over to your side. Or if you'd like to join me, I'm going to do a few rock and rolls and then come up to a seated position. Just kind of give a nice little wake up to my spine this morning. And once we're in the seated position, I'm going to lean over and come into tabletop. So tabletop with our hands, our wrists are right below our shoulders. Fingers are spread wide and gripping the mat. Index finger pointing up to the top of the mat. Our navel's tucked to our spine. Knees are right below the hips. And we'll have a nice gentle push down into our hands to create space between our shoulders and our ears. So we're fully extended here in the tabletop position. Then we'll do a few head turns. So we're going to gently turn our nose over to the right and then gently flow it back to center and flow it over to the left. And then back to center again. Back to the right. Just create a nice gentle flow back and forth. We'll do a few more times. And then back to center. And then some cat-cows. So we're going to round our back, dropping our head and tailbone down, really stretching out the spine. And then lifting our head and tailbone up, sending our gaze straight ahead for cow. Rounding the back, exhale deeply into cat pose. Then inhale, lifting the head and tailbone up into cow. And we'll round our back again. And then just kind of give a nice flow to this pose, going from cat to cow. And then we'll come back to tabletop. We're going to bring our knees out to the side. Bring our big toes together, coming into a wide-legged child's pose. We'll send our hips to our ankles and then send our hands toward the front of the mat, bringing our forehead down. We'll just kind of stretch out here in a wide-legged child's pose. And then we'll, keeping our legs where they are, bring our hands back up so they're almost under our shoulders, and we're going to do a few thread the needle. So I'm going to take my left arm, send it over to the side at shoulder height, and sweep it underneath my torso, bringing my left hand over to the right, bringing my left shoulder down to the mat. And then you can keep your hand, right hand on the mat, or you can place it right where your sacrum is, which is that triangular bone on the back. Just kind of connect with it there. And then we'll bring our hand back to the mat if it's not there already. Lift up, and we'll do that on the other side. So sweeping our right hand out and then underneath our shoulders, bringing our right shoulder to the mat, lifting our left hand, placing it on our sacrum. And we'll place our left hand back down on the mat and come up. Bring our knees back together again. Tuck our toes under, and we'll walk our hands back to come into a squat. And then pushing down to our toes, we'll come up into mountain pose. Bring our toes so that they're pointing toward the long edge of the mat. We'll lift the toes up off the mat, send them back down, lifting our heels off the mat, and then send them back down. Really connecting with the mat and grounding. Talked about grounding last week. And then with the essentials of good posture, I'm going to go through the chakras. So we learned them last week. We talked about the root chakra, which was here. And that is about what you need, this stability, the security, the foundation, if you will. And then we're moving up today to the sacral chakra, which is here. And where the root was about what you need, sacral is about what you want. So emotions might bring you through a lot of ebbs and flows in life to get you to what you want. You know, think about jobs or situations you want in the past. There may have been some ups and downs and ebbs and flows, you know, successes and failures. That duality, that is part of life to get you what you want. So that's where your navel's tucked into your spine. The solar plexus chakra, and then the heart chakra. And the heart chakra, we're gonna, well, the solar plexus, we're gonna elongate our spine, back of our neck, just create a nice long line. Heart chakras, we're relaxing our shoulders, coming out from where the heart is, relaxing our shoulders, letting roll back. Then our throat chakra, we're going to kind of tuck our chin in just a slight bit to create that nice long straight line in our spine. And then our third eye chakra, we're going to send our gaze straight ahead. And the top is our crown chakra. We'll send our crown, stretch it up to the sky. We'll lift our hands up and then send them down to the mat, bending our knees as we go. Inhale, bringing our hands to our shins, flat back, long neck, half forward fold. And then send the crown of our head down toward the mat. Just let gravity take over here for a moment. And then we're going to sweep our hands from the mat all the way up overhead. And as we lift our hands up to the sky, we're going to come up onto our tippy toes. And we're going to do palm tree with a lot of hand motion. We haven't done this in a while, but just kind of create this flow of hands, just kind of in and out, and up and down, and back and forth. Just create this flow like a tumbling sea. May wonder why I'm using so many descriptives of flow and oceans and such today. In the sacral chakra, its element is water. So it's all about flowing with life. We're going to bring our hands back down to the mat, bending our knees as we go. Inhale, lifting our hands up to our shins, nice flat back, half forward fold. Sending the crown of our head down toward the mat. And sweeping our hands all the way up overhead. Palms come together. We're going to take our right hand, wrap it around our left wrist, and just guide our left hand over to the right. And then come back up again. Palms come together. Left hand wraps around the right arm, or right wrist rather, and we'll send the right fingers over to the left. And back up again. We'll bring our hands all the way back down to the mat. And inhale, lifting up to our shins, nice flat back. Gaze is straight down. Create that nice long spine. And then dropping the crown of our head down toward the mat, toward the earth. Then sweeping our hands all the way up overhead again. Palms come together. Palms come to heart center. And this part, we're going to have some options. So you can either go into tree pose here, opening up your hips, your leg to one side, and just go up to your shin, or your calf, I guess that's what it is. Or you can go into what's called a sitting tree. So bringing your foot up so it's right above your right ankle is right above your left knee. Talk and think at the same time here. So you're really opening up your hips, and then taking it a little further by taking your hips down toward your ankles, kind of sitting, the sitting tree. And then coming back up again. We'll do that on the other side. So again, you can do your tree pose, any version you'd like. Or if you'd like to try the sitting tree, bringing your left ankle to your right leg just above the knee. And sending your hips down toward your ankles, coming into like chair pose. And then back up again. And we'll sweep our hands up overhead. And then send them all the way down to the mat, bending our knees as we go. Bringing our hands to our shins, flat back. Sending the crown of our head down toward the mat. And then sweeping our hands all the way up overhead. Palms come together. Palms come to heart center. And you got it. Palms come to the back of our hips. Feet are about hip width apart. Fingers are pointing down. Palms are on our hips. We're going to relax our shoulders. Tuck our chin toward our chest. And gently send our shoulders back to the point of that sweet spot where you can hear that Ujjayi breath flowing nice and strong. And then we'll send our shoulders back up, back to mountain pose. Well done. And we'll sweep our hands up overhead. Send our hands all the way down for forward fold. Placing the hands on the mat, we're going to send our right foot back, coming into runner's lunge. And then we'll, with the left knee over the left ankle, right heels pushing back. We'll create that nice space, that stretch between the two legs. And then sweep our left hand from the mat all the way up to the sky. Runner's lunge with a twist. And then when we bring the left hand back down, we're going to place it right beside our right hand. So both hands are side by side on the inner part of our left foot, coming into lizard pose. We'll take our right knee, place it on the mat, top of our right foot, place it on the mat. And you can stay here in this version of lizard pose. I should have mentioned, if you want a block, you can utilize the block for your hands. You can have it upright. You can bring your forearms down to the block. Or if you want a full stretch, you can bring your forearms all the way down to the mat. Whatever works for you, find that sweet spot for you. And then we'll take our left hand, put it back on the other side of our foot, and we'll come back into runner's lunge, tucking our back toes under. And then we're going to pivot our back foot down so that it's on the mat. Toes are pointing out, heels tucked in a little bit. And we're going to lift up to warrior one. So you can either have your foot on the mat, fully on the mat for warrior one, or if you want to pivot your back foot, coming up on the ball of the foot for high lunge, it's up to you. So we're going to lift our arms up to the sky. And then we're going to straighten our front leg as we bring our arms down and back. So this is where the back foot down might be a little bit more stable. And then we're going to flow our arms up and come down into a high lunge or warrior one. And we'll do this nice flow a few times here. Back and forth, up and down. And come into your high lunge or warrior two. Really bend into that front knee. And one more time. Back and forth, up and down. The ebbs and flows of life. And then we'll bring our hands back down to the mat. Send our right or left foot back, coming into plank. And then lowering either knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. And sending our hands out to the top of the mat, coming into Sphinx. So our elbows are right below our shoulders, tops of our feet connecting to the mat, and really feeling that area below the belly button, the abdomen area connecting with the mat. I don't have any dad jokes. Oh well. We'll bring our hands underneath our shoulders, elbows tucked to the side, gently pushing down as we lift our chin and chest up, coming into cobra. And then tucking our toes under and coming into downward dog. We'll pedal out here just for a moment too. Arms straight, chest reaching toward the thighs, hips up to the sky. Then we'll take our right knee, bring it to the right elbow, pushing off of the left foot, and then back again. Pedal out. And then bring that right knee again to the elbow, and then back to downward dog, pedal out. And then the next move we're going to make is going to bring our knee and set it down on the mat right behind our right wrist. Right knee comes down to the mat right behind the right wrist, and we'll come into pigeon pose. So slide the left foot back, left foot, the top of the left foot comes down onto the mat, and you can walk your hands back. You want to have your hip bones kind of parallel to the mat, not kind of offset from one side to another. They should be parallel to the mat. Where your right foot is, you can, if you're that flexible, you can have it run parallel with the top of the mat. I'm definitely not that flexible. Working on it. And again, you can use your block here, bringing your elbows down, or if you'd like to fully recline in the pigeon pose, bring your forehead all the way down to the mat. And then we'll come back up, tuck our back toe under, lift up, coming back to downward dog, and we'll slowly walk our feet to our hands and come into forward fold, and then slide all the way up, bringing our hands overhead, palms together, palms to heart center. And we'll do that on the other side. So sweeping our hands all the way up, and then exhale, bringing them down to the mat, bending your knees, sending our left foot back, coming into runner's lunge. Left hand placed on the mat, right hand sweeps up to the sky. And then the right hand comes back down. And both hands are side by side on the inside of the right foot. We'll bring our left knee down to the mat, top of the left foot down, coming into lizard's pose. And you can use your block, or if you want, you can bring your forearms all the way down, or keep them straight up. This side's a little tighter, so I think I can keep my arms straight up. Just feel that hip area opening up. And bring the right hand, place it on the other side of the foot, and tuck our back foot under, coming back to runner's lunge. And we'll pivot the back foot down, placing the foot on the mat at an angle, and then coming up to warrior one. You can stay in warrior one, or you can pivot your back foot, come into high lunge. And then we'll straighten the front leg as we ease our hands down. And then bring our hands up, bending our front knee, really coming into that bend. And then we'll do that back and forth a little bit. Arms are back, front leg straight, and then lifting our hands up, really bending into that front knee. And then sweeping back. One last time, bringing your hands up, bending into that front knee, and then bringing hands both back down to the mat, sending the right foot back, coming into plank pose, and then coming down to the mat, and sending our hands forward, coming into Sphinx. Feel the energy running through your body here. And I think I mentioned this quite a while ago, but there was a study about a lower back problem that someone had, and they were bound to surgery, and someone suggested doing the Sphinx pose for, I forget now, it's been a while since I've told the story, but anyway, for a duration of time, say 5 minutes every day. And the person ended up avoiding lower back surgery because this fixed it. And it's the same idea as Cobra, has that same effect. And then we'll bring our hands underneath our shoulders, elbows tucked to the side, and gently pressing down, lifting our chin and chest up, coming into Cobra. So you can see Sphinx is a little bit gentler than Cobra. Tucking our toes under, lifting our hips up to the sky, coming into downward dog. Pedal out here for a moment. And then bringing the left knee to the left elbow, pushing off the right toes, and then back again, downward dog. The left knee comes again to the left elbow, and then back to downward dog. And pedal out. And then we're going to bring our left knee to the mat, right behind our left wrist. So bringing that, the angle of the left leg is up to you, but the right leg slides straight back. So, and some people have this foot up here. No go for me. You can either kind of walk your hands back for a pigeon with a nice, proud, puffed out chest, or you can walk your hands forward, coming down into reclined pigeon. And then we'll come back up. We'll tuck our back toe under, lifting up to downward dog, and then slowly walk our feet up to our hands, coming into forward fold, and lifting our hands up to the sky. Palms come together, palms come to heart center. Well done. We'll bring our pinky toes to the edge of the mat. Heels are tucked in, about 45-degree angle. And we'll lower our hips down toward the mat, bringing our torso between our legs. Our elbows are resting on the inside of the knees for wide-legged squat. And then we'll bring our sit bones down to the mat. And we'll roll back on the mat. I'm going to use the express method by taking my hands under my knees and just rolling back. Take my hands, tuck my knees to my chest, giving myself a nice hug. And then sliding my hands down to my feet, grabbing the outer edges of my feet. I'm going to send the feet up to the sky for happy baby. And we'll take that, try to bring that sacrum area, that triangular bone, down toward the mat as you lift your feet up to the sky. Then we'll bring both feet down to the mat, have them land about hip width apart. Bring the heels up toward our hips as much as you can. And we're going to go into bridge poses. So our hands are facing down with our arms alongside of us for support. Gaze is straight up to the sky. We'll do a few reclining cat cows here. So we're going to tuck our navel to our spine, creating a bowl. That's the cat. And then kind of ease that up into an arch for the cow. And then tuck it in again, creating a bowl for a cat. And as we do that, we're going to push into our feet, lifting our hips up to the sky and coming up into bridge pose. Then slowly lowering back down, one vertebrae at a time. And we'll do that again. So tuck your navel to your spine, creating that bowl for cat. And then kind of arch for cow. Tuck in for cat, and then push down to our feet up to bridge pose. Maybe try to come up a little higher, tucking your shoulders underneath you just ever so slightly. And then slowly come down to really connect your spine with the mat, one vertebra at a time. And one last time, so tucking your navel in, creating that bowl. And then out, creating the arch. In again for the bowl, pushing down and lifting up your hips toward the sky. You interlace your hands underneath if you'd like. And then slowly lowering down again, one vertebra at a time. And then we're going to do some windshield wipers, just a few of these. Our hands are still on the mat, palms down, but just kind of ease them out toward the edges of the mat. Give yourself some room. The knees are about hip width apart, maybe just a skosh more. And we'll create this gentle rocking back and forth with our knees from one side to the other, from left to right, moving our knees up and down. And then we'll bring them back to center. Slide both feet down to the end of the mat. Feet end up in the corners. And just flop them open. Take our hands and flip them up to the sky. Take a few deep inhales and then exhales through your mouth, sinking yourself deeper into the mat. And for today's reading, since we turned the corner on Thursday to spring, I have the spring equinox blessing. From its winter sleep, the earth is awakened. The cycle of nature, true and unbroken. I'm going to start this again because I misread. From its winter sleep, the earth is awoken. The cycle of nature, true and unbroken. The promise of spring, of life, a new start, to fill you with faith in mind, body, and heart. The perfect wheel of nature keeps spinning, with proof that an ending is just the beginning. Rejoice in this season. May it fill you with peace, and may the blessings of nature for you never cease.